Welcome, everyone, to the Infinite Star Connections with your host, myself, Vivian Chauvette, and my good friend, Jeff Demers. We are thrilled to be here for another amazing episode. So, Jeff is the CEO and the Executive Director for the Infinite Voice Project, as well as a Galactic Ambassador and Star Seed for the Ponti, who are delightful star beings. I am the owner of the Infinite Healing from the Stars and co-owner of Energies of Service. I am known as an Octane hybrid. We know that I have really worked very closely with my beloved Octane Collective and other interstellar groups. But today we are thrilled to welcome for the first time to the show Reverend Deborah Jocko. Welcome to the show. I would like to properly introduce you so that our beautiful listener can discover who you are. So Reverend Deborah Jocko is an empath, a clairaudient and clairvoyant. She has a love for the stars and planets, which also led Deborah to study astrology. Her inner voice always found a way to give reassurance to those who are in need. Back in 2012, Deborah attended her first spiritual church. It was the first time where she felt at home, and it was the first time where she received her first energy healing. And that was the beginning of her amazing awakening. In 2014, she moved to Japan, the country where Reiki Healer first originated from. One day she was out on a walk and she heard the words, "Look up." And she did. She looked up and she saw a cloud formation of a baby cherub, which is a very powerful angel. Spirit told her that she has to go back to Buffalo to become a Reiki healer. So she returned to Buffalo back in September of 2015 and contacted her astrology mentor, who is also a Reiki Master. So Deborah became attuned in level 1 and 2 by 2016, did healing at the spiritual church when she belonged for the next 2 years. 2008, she made a major decision in her life, make another huge spiritual awakening, and she wanted to pursue a Reiki Master level. And I know that you have also taken many other training, including a student of the Fellowship of the Spirit, School of Learning, and Prophecy outside of Buffalo. This is incredible, the curriculum, and of course it goes on and on, even being in February of 2021. Deborah became an ordained in Buddhism, and we want to talk about that because I can't even say the word that I want to talk
Or
about that. Thank
Vajrayana
you.
Buddhism.
Yes. Today she's a Reiki master, psychic mediumship. Deborah does amazing in her reading, tarot included, offering in a reading in Western astrology and so forth. We're in for a treat. So thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you. I'm very honored and grateful for this opportunity.
Oh, that is fantastic. And I want to say also good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, depending on where you are on in the world. Thank you for joining us. There's more people coming in. We have people from all across Canada, USA, Sweden, the Netherlands joining us
Wow.
right now. So we are grateful, and I know there will be more. So welcome, Deborah. We want to learn more about you. This is just an aspect of your journey, and I know I could go on more. But we want to hear about how this is really truly began for you. I like this when you found your inner voice and you listened to it. Let's talk about
Yeah.
your journey.
Well, it started very young childhood. I remember just being able to, I would see things and I would talk to them. And the first major aspect that happened was probably around age 4 or 5. And I woke up during, the night at some point. I don't even know what time it was. And I saw this figure, which looked like a woman, shadow, standing by my bed. Of course, being half asleep, I wasn't really sure. I thought it was my mother. But then I heard my parents in the living room laughing. So they were probably watching TV. And all I remember is freezing to the bed and taking the blankets and putting it over my face because I was scared. That was the first encounter. And then also I had such a love for the sky. Always just, you know, like were the planets and the clouds, and it wasn't until 4th grade until we learned about planets that I was hooked. And from there, like anytime I would go into a bookstore, and back then they used to call it the occult section, and I was like immediately drawn to the occult section. And I'm a Taurus. My birthday's in May. And Sydney Omar was the astrologer back then. So all the books that you would see, or the scrolls that you would find in convenience stores were, and I was just very into the whole, sky. And I didn't even know what astrology was. I just knew that I was just connected to it. Inner voice was for me always following. I guess it was kind of like, you have this feeling on the inside, like a gut feeling. And anytime I would meet a new person, and of course, I had no idea that I was picking up energies from them, but I would just know right away the type of person that they were, their personality right away, and whether I could trust them, or I just knew if they were good, or there were certain aspects of them I didn't like. And I was always, it seemed to be right on. So I just kind of learned to always follow my intuition, and I would have premonitions or dreams that would come true, almost like warnings to let me know, hey, if there was something that was not quite right. It happened a lot every time a job was going to end. And with our company, like if I was with a company and they were going to go through a downsize, like I would just get information, things like that. So, and then strangers were always coming up and talking to me and just pouring out their soul. So it's been pretty interesting. I've always had this passion for helping people. They find me, so it seems.
That's incredible. Yeah, I can feel that they will really feel drawn to you. And this is why we love about our very unique podcast, is that we also bring amazing people such as yourself, Deborah, and allowing the community to discover very talented, whether it's Reiki Masters, healers, channelers, astrologer, and really very talented, gifted people. And this is why we also want to give a voice, a platform for credible people like yourself. So we're very happy to have you. So that's
Thank you.
You're welcome. I just want to add this layer right now. So I'm glad you've been following those nudges. And talk about also your study in astrology. Can we explore that?
Yeah.
Oh.
So like I said, I've always had a love for the planets and the stars, and anytime I'm outside, whether I'm looking up at the sky and I'm seeing, sometimes I see images in the clouds form, and then I feel like, well, that's a message for me. But the astrology part, I was on this, and I'm sure people might know the social media called Meetup. And I was fell into actually doing paranormal things with my older daughter. And one day I kept seeing this picture of who she turned out to be my mentor. Her name is Cassandra Butler here in Buffalo. And so this happened in March of 2014. And there was a class for new moon in Aries. And my older daughter came with me, and we met Cassandra, and that was just it. Like I found okay, have found someone that I can actually learn from with the astrology, and she's been my mentor. We're very close. She's just an amazing person. And so over the last few years, I've been learning astrology, and it is a lot. There's so much to it. It's not just about it's the planets and it's the aspects that they make, and the connection to each other. And sometimes you've got planets that are opposite to each other, or there's tension between them, or there's an easy flow. So there's a lot to it, and it's always really important for doing a reading or learning about, you always need to have the exact date of, or exact time of birth. We need the date of birth, exact time of birth, and the location of where the person was born. like the city, state, country. And that really makes a huge difference. And it's your blueprint. It never changes either. That part of your natal chart never changes. So it's going to be something that I'm going to be offering readings as well. And what I found with astrology, it is a science. It's been there back in the Mesopotamian days, long, even before astronomy was discovered. Even our U.S. chart was based on the Freemasons. They determined at a particular, in July 4th, 1776 at that particular time when the country was going to be formed. And so there's a lot to it. And I'm also very sensitive to the planetary shifts. So sometimes I don't even know what's happening, but I can feel it. And so not just an empath with people, but an empath with the planets too. So just super sensitive.
Oh, absolutely. And diving into I like the way you say, diving into the science and the art of astrology, you will have that sensitivity to the changes, planetary changes, change in the grids, the sacred elemental, the dynamic we have between ourselves, the planet, and the other planet in the solar system.
Exactly.
Right, all this conjunction. So, based on your study from astrology and where we are now, did you see a certain either planetary influence that kind of help us with the changes or anything like this?
Well, I mean, at the moment, I mean, there's so much stuff going on right now. Well, I mean, right now, we're heading out of Taurus soon. We're going to be entering Gemini. I think Friday, or just around or towards the end of the week. We have Mercury that is in the shadow right now of retrograde, and he's the ruler of Gemini. So there's we have that. Pluto's in retrograde right now. So even though people hear the word retrograde, the planets don't necessarily look like the planets stop, but they're going backwards. But it's just it's not like that. It's how we kind of perceive it. But it's a time to like redo and rethink and reflect. A lot of times when we're going in a retrograde. We've got Saturn that'll be going retrograde, and then Jupiter will be going retrograde towards every. So Mercury will be Saturn, and then Mercury, and then Jupiter will be retrograding coming up. So we have a lot of stuff, and the energies are going to get a little kooky. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I know. Like we're not going through enough right now, but the only thing you can do is just kind of go with the flow. Like there's nothing you can do, and just stuff comes up or whatever, especially like now with Mercury going retrograde, you're sleeping most of the time anyway, so it doesn't affect you the same way. But it does affect, transportation and communication and technology. So if you're having computer problems during that time, you kind of know why. And that will be at the end of the month. So we're in the shadow right now, but I think it's like May 29th, the planet goes retrograde.
Oh, okay. May 29th. Yeah, so I'm already experiencing computer challenges, so imagine what's going to be like. So chills up, everybody. Let's put the chills of light. Oh my God. So you're mentioning that you'll be offering
I will
readings.
be.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So what does it look like? Let's say that I want to come to you for a reading. So what does it look like? Will be like looking at the charts or the North
It'll
Node?
be like for astrology, it'll be looking at a chart. I'll just probably, depending on what it is that you're going to want to know, be your natal charts and then transits as to what's going on at that particular time. If people want to know about relationships, there's ways of doing that as well. There's so much to astrology, and it's an ongoing learning. There's different charts. So, there's charts about money, there's charts about love, there's so much to learn. We have what we call progressive chart, and then there's the synastry charts and the composite charts. There's a lot to it. So this is not something that I'm just going to stop learning. This is an ongoing process. And I have a love for learning. So on top of that, that's my Gemini moon. Constantly learning. My Taurus sun is in the house of Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is all about education and learning and philosophy, religion. It's also has to do with intuition as well. So
Wow, that's incredible. Did you say you have your moon in Gemini?
yes, yeah, in the 10th house of career. So it's
Oh
just not
my,
the emotions, but that house is also the house of Capricorn. So yep,
incredible.
they're little map, you know.
Yes, yes, little map. I like to say that, Deborah, because I feel like, people getting understanding their own natal chart, the specific alignment, the influence, the houses,
Mhm.
how it can also contribute to better understand their own inner mapping, correct?
Exactly. Exactly. That's like the amazing thing about that's why, some people will think, oh, astrology is just a pseudoscience, but it really isn't. And the things that happen, you can't even make it up. Even between the transits, things that are happening out right now, um, we're like I don't even know. I haven't even looked yet at what's going on, so I have no idea. I haven't looked at that part of it today. So I just know when I'm feeling something, then I look and I'm like, oh, okay, this makes sense.
I love it. I love it. Do you feel there's going to be additional changes, especially reinforced by the upcoming summer solstice next month? We know we're about a month away, around June 21st, with the summer solstice, I mean, coming in. Do you feel like planetary wise, in conjunction with the changes we're going through, that we might be going into another portal of opening?
Are you talking about more intuitively, or are you talking about just in general with the
Just
astrology?
well, what you're getting from this, whether it's combining from your knowledge of the astrology, what you already maybe perceive, feeling intuitively, from your perspective.
I think we're in. Well, I think we're in still for a little bit of a rocky time, but I also feel like there's going to be a lot more truth that'll come out. That people, the way it's been, it's kind of like we've been there's a lot of people that have been under a veil. Um, those of us who can see or that are more, I don't, like more awake have been able to see beyond what's been going on. But I think that there's going to be more things coming up to the surface. That's what I feel is going to happen. So it's going to be like hold on tight for the next while with the cosmic weather. That's
Cosmic
what I feel
weather.
is
I
going to be
like that.
coming. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. Um, let's talk about also when you received your first energy healing. I think it was back in 2012. Is that correct?
Yeah. So
Oh,
I grew up. I was raised as a Reformed Jew. So that just means that I kind of like we weren't kosher or anything like that, but I was kind of lucky in a sense where my father grew up with a Lutheran one like a Lutheran father, and his mother was Jewish, and but my mother was raised as a Jew. But in my house, we kind of celebrated everything, but I never felt the connection except for my ancestors to the Jewish faith. I always honor my ancestors for what they've gone through. Um, but when I found this church in Buffalo, because I live in Buffalo, and I found this church, it was like an immediate, I feel at home. Like, oh my gosh, this is so me. This feels so right for me. And so they were offering Reiki healing, and I didn't even know what that was. And I went and I sat down, and there was someone that was doing the healing, and it was just this amazing thing. And I felt so much relief and calm. And I remember just driving home, and all of a sudden I felt like this vibration just come right through like the top of my crown. And I thought, wow, like it was just amazing. And it was just something that I really enjoyed, and I really didn't know at that point like where my life was going. And it wasn't until after I met Cassandra and then learning the astrology, and she's also a Reiki Master, and then I started attending her church as well, and just getting more of the healings done. And I always was feeling so much energy and just amazing after. And then of course I wound up moving to Japan for a year, and it was at that point I thought, oh, I was really excited because I thought this is where it came from. So I thought, oh, what a better place to learn than in Japan. But it was so disappointing because where we lived, nobody understood or knew what it was. And we lived on the island of Kyushu, which is off of the mainland of Japan. And then, like you read, I was walking and I heard the words "look up," and there in the clouds was this beautiful baby cherub, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And then I just started after that, like getting more information, downloads, 'cause I'm like I can hear and clairaudient, and they just kept saying like, you need to go home, like you need to go home. And I didn't say anything to anybody. I just kind of like, okay, let's see what's going to happen. And I could feel, honestly, my soul was starting to die. This was just something I had to do. I could feel the changes going on. And when I came back in September of 2015, I reached out to Cassandra and I said, and she had to be the one, like, there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She was the one that had to teach me. And so it went from there. And I got attuned for Reiki 1 and 2. And then I did my practice healings for 2 years. And then changes started in 2018 for me after there were 3 eclipses that happened in the beginning of 2018. And the third eclipse, that's where this major decision in my life came. It was on February 20th. And no sooner did I make this decision, it was like the universe just like, we've been waiting for you to do this. And so it was like a domino effect after that. I got my Reiki Master. I was introduced to Buddhism, and then what happened around the summer of 2018, my older daughter's friend's father was dying from cancer and had been in hospice. They'd given him a few days to live, and her friend had posted on Facebook that if anybody wanted to see him, now's the time because he's on his way. Well, I didn't see anything or hear anything. And so I reached out to him and just intuitively, and I said, hey, like, how are things going? What's going on? And he said his father didn't want to, like, it wasn't like he wanted to let go. And so I said to him, okay, I can come over and see what I can do to help. But I had a church service to attend to. And so that night, and I was at church, and they have mediums that come up and they do what they call a gallery reading. So they just kind of like hone in on somebody. And I wound up getting a reading. My maternal grandmother came through, and she's like, what are you waiting for? This is the time for you to do it. And so I was just like, oh, okay. So anyways, I left. I went to his house, and I had met his father a couple times, but yeah, he wasn't looking very good. Obviously, he was dying of cancer. But I went in and I did a healing on him, and I talked to his son, and I said, okay. I asked his son. I said, what's his favorite band and stuff, right? Because then I said his name was Jimmy, and I said, Jimmy, and he looked at me and he couldn't talk, okay, because he was too weak. I said, Jimmy, what are you waiting for? What are you scared of? Because it's beautiful on the other side. It's like a big park. I said, your family is going to be waiting for you when you cross over to the light. They're going to be waiting for you. There's going to be a party. He liked Pink Floyd. And I'm like, they're going to be playing Pink Floyd, and there's going to be a celebration. And I said, and your body will be back to perfect health. You'll be back to perfect health. What are you afraid of? What are you waiting for? It's okay. And so I did a healing on him for 45 minutes. And by that point, he was like, it seemed like that was enough time. And as I was getting ready to leave, he looked up at me and he said, thank you. And I grabbed his hands and I said, with God's blessing, and I left. And the next day I got the information that he had passed.
Wow.
And so that was my first time dealing or working with somebody to help them, transfer to the other side. And it was amazing. And from there, it led me to Fellowships of the Spirit, which is located in Lilydale, New York, outside of Buffalo. It's about an hour and 10 minutes from here. And it's the oldest spiritual place in the world. It's very well renowned. And I attended a 4-day intensive program, which culminated with meditation and healing, and then working on the intuition and mediumship. And it was funny because I had thought about doing something different. I was becoming ordained, but not quite through fellowships because it's a 2-year program. But it was so intense, and my guides were like, no, this is where you have to be. And I was like, well, how am I going to do this? Like, I don't even know if I have time, to take off or money or, So I talked to the founder and I said, I'm not sure what I should do. And she goes, well, you could just ask your guides. So I'm like, okay. So I said, all right. I didn't know how much time left I had because the program was starting in October of 2018. So I didn't know if I had vacation time left. So I said, okay, if you really want me to do this, then, allow me to have the vacation time when I ask for it. And if you really want me to do this, then I need for you to help me through the application and the interview process. And if you really want me to do this, you got to help me with money. So I went back to work after that long weekend. I submitted for my vacation time. Lo and behold, I had enough time. I had just enough time. I didn't even know. And so they granted it to me. I'm like, oh, okay. So I said, all right. I finished my application. I sent it in. I said, if this is what you want me to do, then help me with this process, And then about a week or two after I submitted, I got a phone call and I had the interview and I, went through whatever questions they asked me. And I said, okay, so what's the next step and how long will it be before I know? And he's like, oh no, he goes, you're in. I'm like, what? so okay. So I said to Spirit, I'm like, okay, number 3, if this is what you want me to do, I need help with financing. Okay, this is a 2-year program. And so they had a payment plan. So I was like, okay, I guess this is what I'm doing. So it started in October of 2018 for 2 years. In the 2-year period, you have to do organic, pure mediumship readings. So it's like we did over a course of 2 years, 140 readings, and then also we had to do 140 healings. So we had all that, plus all the other learnings that we were doing. This was a part-time thing, so it was, go on weekends. So it was amazing, and I met so many interesting and incredible people, and you kind of learn what works for you in terms of how you read people. And what I did learn quite a bit in between the time when I took the 4-day class is the type of mediumship. I'm definitely a physical medium, so I can pick up on people, like if they've got issues with, I don't know, even if they have for example, if they have a back pain, I'll feel it, and I'll be able to hone in on that. Like I can't give I'm not a doctor, so I can't give recommendations. But I also have a gatekeeper who allows those from the other side, whether they're going to come in or not. It doesn't happen all the time, and that's something that I tell people if I'm doing readings, I can't guarantee that a loved one will come through. It depends on what their needs are. So, I don't see physical, there are a lot of people that can see physical beings. I don't. I see when they want me to see. Typically, I see as a clairvoyant through my third eye, so I'll get images or pictures, movies. The clairaudient part where I'm hearing clear hearing, I'll get words, phrases, sometimes like song lyrics, things like that. And because I'm an empath and I'm clairsentient, I feel a lot. So even like when if I'm around someone, I mean, I can sometimes I smell and I taste things too. It just depends on what's coming through at that particular time. So it's been a really interesting journey, to say the least. And I'm living this is my destiny. Like in the astrology, you have what we call a North Node. And for my placement, it's in the 8th house, which is represented by Scorpio. So it's about transformation. I have, it's about helping others. It's about mediumship. It also has to do with death, but it's not necessarily the actual death. It can be like a death and rebirth. My Chiron, my wounded healer, is also in that 8th house. So I'm there to help people. I'm there to heal, not just myself, but others. So that's what I'm trying to do. This has been just amazing.
Oh my God, let's take a deep breath just to incorporate everything you just mentioned. I was like energetically following up with you as I'm also welcoming new people joining us. We have someone from Scotland today and other amazing people from all over. Crystal, thank you for being here, and everyone else. So as I'm want to welcome everyone joining us, listening to your journey, I feel like I am floating in energy field right now. I love that you talk about your North Node because I know it's very important. And I think that the South Node is also
Yeah.
extremely strategic in someone's chart.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting because my South Node being in Libra, so I was all about partnership and like trying to deal with it's in my 2nd house, so it's all about the Taurus energy and the value and your self-worth. And then this life, I'm like all about learning to be an Aries, my independence, and it's like learning about other people's resources. So it's been, like standing on my own and just and I'm doing that, like, and it's been amazing. And I think I've been doing this like for so long, but I just didn't realize it. And it's just been getting stronger and stronger. So, and like I have Uranus right now on top of my sun, so that's been pushing me. And if you know anything about Uranus, he is the ruler of Aquarius, but he's the expect the unexpected, the chaos. And when you're a Taurus and you're about being Earth and being stable, and then all of a sudden you've got this planet that's like, oh no, this is not what's happening. So he's sitting right on my identity right now, and he's definitely shaking things up. But that's okay, because it's supposed to be that way at the moment. So, yeah.
I'm with you. I'm really
Troublemaker.
with you. Troublemaker. Like, okay, we got enough. I always tell the universe, okay, now let's use feathers. Let's use feathers to bring the lessons.
Yeah.
Jeff, do you know anything about your chart, where your moon is or where your sun is? Anything like that? Or even your rising?
No, I'm not a total believer in that type of stuff. So, I mean, if it, whatever, I don't know
And
what's
that's
rising, falling, however, I don't know.
Your rising sign is how you present yourself to the world, and it was what was in the sky at the moment you took your first breath. So I'm a Virgo rising, so I present myself as a Virgo. I am that person that is like, I'm in the service, I do service, help people, and I'm definitely a perfectionist, and nobody can be harder on me than me. So I work hard, and I like things to be a certain way. I'm very organized. So, but also the downside is, being self-critical, so, but nobody can be as hard on me as me. Is what I say.
So
Well, that is one thing that I have to learn is astrology, because I still don't quite get it. I have other people tell me about it. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Sure.
That's okay, Jeff. I'll get you hooked. We'll get you hooked.
That's okay. I'm good. Hey, what I want to know, can you talk about your first experience with the Ponte?
Oh my gosh. So Lavinia and I have been, we're like, she's one of my very best friends, and I've known her since 2007. I don't remember exactly when it happened, but there's been times where I like I said, I don't see, but I feel, and I remember feeling like these little fingers tapping me on the shoulder, and like they felt like their fingers were flat. And anytime, every time we're together, it doesn't matter where we are, they just kind of like, they show up. They're there. And it's been really interesting because you can't, people think that we're like, there's no other beings. I don't know how anyone could possibly think that when we are part of a solar system and there's different galaxies out there. There's got to be more than just humans out there. Absolutely. And the biggest thing that happened when she was working on one of her coloring books, and I don't remember the name, but it was a female being, and she specifically said to me, I want a tiara. And I said to Lavinia, I'm like, she wants a tiara. She was showing me the picture of this, and I'm like, she wants a tiara. And it's like that's it. Like, she wanted to be in pink, but she wanted that tiara. And so I thought that was pretty funny because she was very like, as a matter of fact, like, this is what I want, and you're going to do this for me.
Oh, believe me, they're very, very demanding.
Very persistent too.
Yeah.
So
when they want something done, they want it done. They don't have time to wait.
Yeah.
That's why they asked you to do it now.
Yep. Yeah. It was really funny. So it's like every time we're together, I know that they're there. I can't see them, but I certainly feel them, or I will hear if there's a message coming through.
Do you hear a voice coming through, or is it just through you?
I don't specifically hear like a different voice. It's kind of like the clairaudient. It's more, for me, it's more like I'll hear words. It's very rare where I will actually hear like a different voice, but usually it's just words that are coming through. And then what typically, for validation, usually my left side will start to like tingle, or it feels like goosebumps.
Yeah.
And so that's how I know the validation is coming through, and I can just feel them. So whether it's my guides or, when I'm with Lavinia and it's the Ponte coming through, I just know like this is, they're validating by doing that for me.
Cool. Good.
I understand the feeling, because when they come playing with my cats and they love to come and play with my husband because he's playful. I'm more like this Zen master / Spock / I'm more like in that sense. So my husband is very playful, and they will come, and sometimes he wants to open the door and they push back, and then he's trying, and it's just they play like that. Or they're going to move around certain crystals, and you can hear little step on literally on the carpet, and then I can feel my team. They came in and they just stay there and they observe what the Ponte do, and they have their own interaction.
Get out of here. You're gone.
Oh, Jeff, you're funny. But yeah, I'm glad you have your experience with them. We have a question actually for you, Deborah. For our dear Lavinia, great question. She's asking, how can sensitive people who are also empath stay sane with all of this, what is going on right now?
Well, okay, so for me, it's been a learning process. Typically, I've always called in Archangel Michael to come in to provide the white light of protection. I also, like when I'm doing healing, I have Michael and Archangel Raphael, who's the angel of healing. What I've been doing for quite a while now is I do Qigong to try and ground me, to help ground me. I also do mantras to help with that, meditation, and all day long, even when I'm working, because I have a regular job as well. So, and even when I'm working, I'm getting a lot of information that I'm getting hit all the time. Do I always pay attention to it? No, because I gotta focus on my job. So that it's challenging with the way things are right now. I guess all I can say that people can get out in nature to try and ground, by touching trees or putting your hands or feet in the earth. We want to try and just kind of balance out, be by water, whatever you're kind of inclined to do, or what seems to pull you is probably the best thing. Even if you're not anywhere near where you can have nature, if you have plants, stick your fingers in the earth of the plant. I know it's really hard, and just try and keep centered the best that you can, and believe in the divine, and that the divine and the universe, they've got our back. They're there for us, and and stay off mainstream media is probably the other thing too. So it's the way I see it.
Does pulling weeds out help?
If you're getting your fingers into the dirt, why not?
Yeah, they were dirty. So
yeah, if your hands are in the dirt, that's what you want to do, is just try and ground. But like I said, if I'm near a tree, I'll put my hands on it, and sometimes I'll get messages even from a tree, because they are a living being.
Yeah.
So I'm a person that's very drawn to water too. I love being by the water. I love being in nature. So it's just really important to try and stay as centered as possible. But I know it's very challenging, even for someone like me, because I sometimes I don't even know where things are coming from, and I just pick up, and I get anxiety. I get anxiety too. So, and I don't always know, but then I say to spirit, it's not mine, so please let it go. And then also whoever does belong to, please let it go for them as well. So try to come from a place of love and compassion as much as I can.
Well, here's a stupid question. You said that you can communicate with Archangel Michael and Raphael, right?
Mm-hmm.
When other people do the same thing, is it the same one? Is it the same Michael?
Are they the same angel? Yes. He's everywhere. He's everywhere. It's not like anyone, it's not like they're just belong to me. These angels are for everybody. So anybody who needs to call them in, like I said, Raphael's the healer, Gabriel's the communicator, Michael is the protector. He's there. He helps to cut the cords of attachment and any kind of negative energy. So if there's, things that you need to cut from your life, people you need to cut, it's just to help. That's what he's there for.
Do you contact those guys?
When I'm doing, especially when I'm doing healing, or when I'm calling in for, when I'm doing a reading, I do call in the angels. I call in my own angels, my own teachers, those that are on the other side. So I do call them in, to help connect.
Right. What about you, Vivienne?
Oh, that's a great question. As an intergalactic being, we are very close to the angelic realm. So working in collaboration with different aspects of the angelic hierarchy level, we do, including the archangels or the solar archangels of the time we call upon. I know I had very amazing direct archangel experiences. Do you mind if I quickly share that experience? Because I feel like it's
go ahead.
okay. Because I know this is about you. I really feel like it connects with what your experience was about. And I want to go back to your cloud formation experience, because I think this is absolutely amazing. Back in 2015, I had a car accident that nearly took my life. It was a frontal collision. And at the time, what I felt is that inside of the cabin, time stood still, like everything was in slow motion. So I don't have full memory of everything. All I knew is I felt the impact, and then I start to feel my car moving into a 180-degree turned by the force of the impact. But inside of the cabin, I can see object flying off, but everything just stay in a certain order. And I saw this white light inside, and I felt presence, mighty presence of light coming near on each side, take me out of body, like lifting me up. The car turned, pulling me back in. And all I know is that I was driving in that direction. And next thing I know, I'm looking at complete opposite direction. And so what came out from this was that in that day, two mighty archangels came, Archangel Gabriel and Archangel Ramiel. They
Okay.
came, and they're the ones who pulled me out and brought me back, because I have certain memory I don't have because I was outside time and space, and they brought me in. And long story short, when I finally got released from the hospital and I went back home, I asked, I want to honor the archangels who came, allow me to get to know you. I already knew about Gabriel because he's been with me, my entire life, and he comes more into a predominance of masculine polarity to me. The other one I was not familiar with. And what happened next, I feel like it's tied up with your own experience, Deborah, is I woke up, I was early morning, like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. I heard a choir of angels singing in my room.
What?
And they said to me, yeah, no, literally, it was like having my own personal choir says, good morning,
Oh,
wake up. And they were singing to me. And I asked them, and they said, we are announcing the presence of the archangels. Do you accept the presence of the mighty one? And I said, yes, I accept. And then they continued to sing. Well, singing, it was more like really high tonality, angelic tonality. And then what happened is that this being came in my room in the presence of just pure gold light, and I can see the outline. And the message was, I am Archangel Ramiel. And this is how I get to know that
oh,
was the second archangel
I
that
got like
came and told.
chills.
You did?
Oh
Yeah, it
yeah.
was incredible. Gabriel was on my left, Ramiel was on my right on that day. And so I said to them, I'm going to have an altar in your honor. So I do have a statue. It's a representation, of course,
Yeah,
a
sure.
statue of Archangel Gabriel and Ramiel on my in my room. And every morning I ask, I said, good morning, host, angelic host, thank you. And yeah, so this has been my I know I'm gonna go like I'm getting emotional
No,
myself.
it's funny because I also have statues of Archangel Raphael and Michael in my room. So yeah, that's
Oh, you
All
amazing.
I have is ETs, so I'm sorry I don't have anything like that.
Well, it's funny that
no.
it is funny that you say that, because the one of the experiences that I did have you talk about with the angels and being able to see them is one night I was sleeping and I woke up and I was lying on my back and I woke up and I saw an angel, and it was kind of like it almost looked like a like a charcoal color. I can't even describe it, sitting on my legs, and I thought, am I seeing things here? Like I
Wait
said,
a
I don't
minute, wait a
see.
minute, wait a
I
minute,
don't.
wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. When you
I
say angel, what do you mean? You mean like with wings and all that, or
yeah, and just like sitting there looking at me, and I closed my eyes. I'm thinking to myself, I must be dreaming, and I opened my eyes, and there's just like just sitting there and just looking at me, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. So I'm like, thank you, So yeah, I honor them because they have, like, just like you, like they've been there to help me all along. And they've been helping me with this journey, and they help with the healings I do, and they help with the readings that I do. And, amazing,
do
amazing.
these guys just work on this earth plane only, Vivian, or can they go to other dimensions too? Are they just stuck here with us?
No, it's a great question, Jeff, and it's really, it really ties up with extraterrestrial beings, because from what I was taught and shown from the spiritual, let me rephrase that, from the angelic realm, is that throughout the entire multiverse, the angelic realm is very involved, working in collaboration with many other intergalactic civilizations. They are the one, think of it this way, think of it as a higher office or higher councils of light, and these archangels or different form of angelic beings, and they are assigned to different quadrant throughout the multiverse. So they will work in close partnership with the intergalactic councils of light. They're going to work in partnership with different other interstellar groups. My group, the Octurians, we are working closely with the angelic realm. We are recognize different level of really high angelic beings, like I mentioned, the solar archangels, for example. Those who are assigned to the earth, they're like very involved with everyone on this planet, Earth, life. And it's not just for human beings, but it's for all life evolving here. You know, we're always very prone life. But they are overseeing the evolution of life throughout the divine matrix. So the angelic realm is beyond the halo and the wings. They are mighty, mighty presence of light, and they are absolutely phenomenal. Archangel Remiel, when he came to me that day I asked him, so he said, I shall reveal myself to you. He had no wings on. All I saw is this mighty presence of gold emanation of light. And then the transmission came, I am Archangel Remiel. And this is how my experience, with them have been, and of course evolving. So what you share, Deborah, it's beautiful. And I know there's many people, a situation where, when I was young, I was going to drown in that lake, and then this being came, this beautiful, woman, man, I feel this angelic presence coming, says, this is not your time. And they're being pulled out of the water and things like that. So we are in the presence of supreme intelligence, omnipresence, omnipotence around us, including us. We're part of the equation. So it's really a force of reverence. I have a lot of respect for them, and obviously you do too, and you have your own connection. They are there for you too, Jeff. It's just it's more subtle for you, and that's okay.
Yeah, everybody has them. Everybody has them, just like we all have guides.
Yeah,
we have a team of people. We all have them, and they're there. In terms of, like, if you want angelic help, you have to call them in. So they just don't kind of show up and like help you unless they really need to help you, or your team and stuff. And sometimes even your spirit guides can be hard of hearing. So when you need the help, sometimes you have to be firm with them too. So
okay, so when you start to do healing and all that stuff, what happens to you? Do you change your vibration? How does that work? How do you do that?
It comes through. I'm just okay. So even as a psychic medium, we're a vessel. I'm just a messenger. So when I'm calling in and there's kind of certain like chant that we do, the vibration it comes through my hands when I'm doing it, because that's what you're doing as a healer. So I can feel the energy coming through. I don't tend to touch. I tend to hover more. And I can touch, but I prefer to hover. So I'm kind of like behind you or wherever I feel it, and they guide me as to where you really need the healing. Some people, like, I'll ask, if it's, first of all, if it's okay for me to put my hands on you, and then I ask if there's something specific that you need, that you want to have done. And if people say to me, no, I just want something general, or just, whatever comes, they will let me know. They will guide me as to where you need it the most. It is really amazing.
Can you see anything when you do that? Can you see different energies, or do you just?
I usually have my eyes closed when I'm doing it. So, sometimes I'll get colors. It just depends what's coming through. Sometimes I will get a message if they need it. But typically when I'm getting it, they're usually guiding me as to where you really need the most work. So, sometimes I'll examples like say you've got like, I don't know, shoulder pain, I can feel that energy coming through. Sometimes it also, it can be a cold spot, it can be a hot spot. It just depends what's going on. But typically I'm getting guided, and I listen to what they tell me because they're the ones that are in charge. I'm just the vessel.
Mhm.
That's all I am. It's not me, like they're just using me to give you what you need. And that goes with the verbal healing too. If I'm doing like psychic mediumship, it's the same thing. I'll get information. Sometimes it may not make sense to the person that's sitting there. It may not make sense at that particular time, but it may make sense, if they're thinking about it later on or something happens. We're just a messenger. This is an art, not a science,
Can you feel where like, say if my shoulder is bad or something, and you're sitting there doing your thing, and can you feel in your shoulder what my shoulder feels like?
Sometimes I can feel. If I'm really tuning in, I can feel where the pain is. And it's the same thing when I'm doing a reading on someone, and I just kind of like go through, each aspect of their life, like, what they're going through at the particular time, or what, career. We go through love, and I go through health. And so sometimes with their health part, I'll be like, if somebody's having an issue with their leg or their back or their shoulder, or I feel sometimes, especially if someone's having arthritis or joint pain, I'll feel that the achiness, or I'll get nauseous from that pain. So, or if they've had issues with their, breathing or their chest, or something's happened, I'll pick up on that, and I won't be able to breathe. I'll be able to pick up even on somebody's anxiety. So, it will happen. If spirit wants me to know these things, they will let me know.
Gotcha.
So I trust in that. I trust in what that person is supposed to receive. And I can also feel like if they have a wall up. So, you can sometimes feel skepticism, or you're not sure. And I feel that right away. Even like if I'm doing like online, I can feel that, so it's interesting. I look a lot in the eyes too. I can, read the eyes, and when I'm like meeting somebody for the first time, there's certain things that I'll just be able to tell, body language, things like that. So, but I don't say, if I meet someone for the first time, I'm like, oh, you're like this and that. I don't do that. I can just sense things, and it's helped me a lot. Back, like I did human resources for 18 years. And one of the things that I did a lot of recruiting, and of course I had no idea, like I was using my intuition. So I'd be able to, when I'm interviewing somebody, I could feel right away, and I just knew right away if they were going to be a good fit, and the type of person, if this was going to be good. And so I was able to use that to help in placing people in our, wherever I was. So that was like always a benefit for me. So yeah, it really was. I loved what I did, but things happen, and things happen in your life that need to be changed. And so.
Well, we got to get into this Buddha, whatever that last word is.
Yes, I was going to think about it. Let's talk about when you became ordained in Buddhism, but it's a really specific one. We have someone listening right now who's been practicing Buddhism for 25 years. So let's dive into it.
Well, I wound up becoming ordained first through Fellowships of the Spirit. That was my first ordainment that happened back in September of 2020. We were supposed to graduate in May of 2020, but once COVID hit, everything stopped. So that was my first thing. And then, so I've been kind of like in this route to, like when I started in the spiritual part, it was like, for me, I'm going into the light. And then when I got introduced to the Buddhism, it was like, oh, you're in the, to the path of enlightenment. And I'm like, well, and then I would start to go to what we have, like different kinds of empowerments and practices. And so I was learning, and it just resonated with me. So it's been an interesting 2-year combination, but I really focused more on the fellowship. So this just like happened in February. So there's different lineages of Buddhism, and so we're more of the tantric Vajrayana practice. So I haven't been doing it for very long, but it's just we do a lot of different things. It's not just like the practice of Buddhism. That we have our school does kung fu. We do like the spiritual and the energetic work. So it's a lot of different things that we do, and it just meshes with me very well.
Wow.
It's been a great journey.
I like that you mentioned that there's different lineage to Buddhism. So I know you just brushed up on the one that you became ordained. So what is the difference with this specific lineage compared to others?
I really can't answer that question
Okay.
because I don't have the knowledge of the other ones. I don't have the experience. I just know that this has been, one of those things that has fit for me. And it just happened to fall into my lap. And, kind of probably I had a past life, I'm sure, with it, because there's definitely a connection. I've gone through past life regressions and things where I've been so connected that it just felt right for me. And so this is where I'm at right now.
Okay, now you said the past life regressions. Do you know your soul's point of origin by chance?
I don't. I've had 3 different past life regressions.
The
And
Ponte tells me that you're Andromedan.
oh, okay. Well, I don't know what that means, so maybe you'll have to tell me what that means.
They
I was
said that
told somebody told me I was like Lemurian. So
I don't know, but they told me that you were a warrior and a male source, and your point of origin is Andromedan. I said, oh, okay. That was Sarah, by the way. So
okay, that's interesting. I know I was a warrior in a past life because that just came to me this past week. I my significant other wound up getting a beautiful sword, and as he took the sheath off of it, I all of a sudden just got like this image of myself as a knight.
mm-hmm.
and I've had this fear of like anything that's sharp. Like I don't like knives. I don't even like for like cutting things. I don't like them. But as soon as this sword is beautiful. As soon as I touched it, they showed me a past life of myself and I saw myself in the hole, like sitting in it, like as a knight. So I figure either I killed somebody or I was killed with it. There's something I just didn't get enough information because I was just like, whoa. I was a little shocked.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be here on Earth.
Yeah.
It could be elsewhere. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just interesting you say warrior, and so I'm like, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's what Sarah came through as. She's a
That's
warrior.
very cool.
She's
very cool.
She's got male energy, so
well, I think I've always been one to stand on my own 2 feet, and I just kind of go like you can't I don't back down from challenges. So, if that means anything. But yeah, I've had 3 past life regressions, and it's helped me to understand certain things about this life that I'm in right now. And it's kind of amazing to go through. It can be a little bit of an emotional experience, but it's really, really interesting. As I've seen myself, actually the first one I had, my name was Goethe, and I was I guess I was in Germany or something, because I just remember walking on the cobblestone road, but I was in fear and trying to get away and hide. And I wound up in this old home with these windows that were huge. And I wound up losing family. And I do remember, that I wound up getting married. I didn't see who the person was, but I got married and I had a little girl and her name was Laura that I remembered. And then my husband passed away and I was here by myself to try and take care of my daughter, and wound up, I saw myself like as a maybe like a nurse's aide, but helping people because I needed to make money. So that was one life. So it was just kind of like, oh, resources. That was a big thing for me. The second life, it was Victorian England, where I had to take care of my mother and sisters. My father was nowhere. I think my mother was like a widow, and that was my sole thing, was helping, like to provide and to be there and to help everybody else. And then it got to the point where I was alone. I never wound up getting married. And when I went to the bank to try and get money, they refused to help me. And on my deathbed, I saw myself totally alone. So I died alone. So in another past life, I was a little East Indian boy and I saw the Taj Mahal, and I was an artist. So I came from more of a wealthier family, it felt like. I didn't get very far with that one. But I wound up like getting married. But I just remember being in front of the Taj Mahal because see how beautiful and gold it was, and I was painting. So just really interesting stuff. I know that I feel like I was burned at the stake as well, just because I also fear fire. I don't like being close to fire. I can look at it, from a distance, or if there's, but I have a fear of that too. It's just stuff I need to get over. But I feel like I was, that I was too outspoken, kind of like a Joan of Arc type thing. Mm-hmm. Too outspoken, and and also think that there was something to do with like a spiritual path that I was trying to do, and of course back then, like that was like a no, you were just a witch. So I feel like there's that kind of thing that happened as well. I mean, I sense it. I sense it.
Can you see auras around people?
Sometimes I can. Yeah, it does happen. Depending on what's, where I'm at the time, I feel more energy. I feel more of that than I do see. So again, like if spirit wants me to see it, then I will see it. Mm-hmm. But I do, once in a while it will happen. I'll see somebody glowing. Mm-hmm. It's pretty interesting. It's cool.
It is cool.
I wish I could see. My older daughter has been seeing orbs since she was like little. She would always see orbs and she thought that was normal. I'm like, I don't see it. I don't see things like that. I wish I could, but I don't. Both my girls have their own stuff. Older one was always more clairvoyant and seeing words, things like that, or she would see orbs. My younger one is very empathic. They're both very, very empathic, but the younger one is very much empathic and is she's kind of more starting to open up a little bit more now. They were more open when they were younger, and then of course things happen where you stop.
Vivian, you want to ask her about that cloud formation thing? Because I'm intrigued by that too. I just can't get over that for some reason.
Thank you, Jeff. Yes, and I got this question, another one, and then we have a question for you from the audience as well. So let's line up the next three
questions. Take it away. I'm done talking. I'm done talking.
Here.
My Gemini moon will just keep me talking, so just stop me.
Oh, well, that's why we make a good team. So it's perfect. It's always balanced, right? We do. Yes. When you said about, I know you were, I think if I remember correctly, you were back in Japan at a time when you saw this cloud formation in the form of a baby cherub. Mm-hmm. So just for foundation and background, like that cherub energy, can you elaborate about how it happened? Because this is a really high level of angelic therapy.
Again, so at the time we were pet sitting for my former spouse for a colleague, and I literally, it was just walking down the street, just walking the dog. And I just heard the words, look up. And so I stopped, I looked up, and I was just like in shock. And I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God, you know, and a perfect picture of the cloud formation of a baby cherub. And I was just like, that was the most incredible thing I'd ever seen in my life. And I look at the sky a lot. So there are things that I will see, like I know I'll hear, like look up, like even if I'm driving or if I'm in the passenger, I'll be like look up, and I'll see something like, oh my, you know. But this was like huge. It was huge, and I knew it was for me, and I knew it was a message, and then the things started coming after that, where I was just getting like, you gotta go back home, like. I literally felt like, and I didn't want to say anything because I'd only been in Japan since we had moved there in August for my former spouse's job. And so what am I going to say? Like, and he didn't believe any of this stuff anyways. So, you know, I just kept it to myself. And it was just like I just kept getting more messages that this is what you have to do. You've got to honor. You have to honor your soul. You've got to do this, and you've got to go home, and you've got to learn, you know, the energy healing. I had no idea what was coming down the pipe after that. I just knew that this was it. Like, you know, I kind of kept it under wraps for a while, thinking, well, maybe it's going to go away, but it just didn't. It just kept getting stronger and stronger. So by June of, sorry.
What did the baby cherub thing, like he pointed to, you know, you got to look
no,
or something?
No, it was just there. I just knew it was for me. It was just a beautiful, you know, how often do you see something like that in the sky? You don't.
Right.
You don't. I've never seen anything. I never saw anything before that in my life, and I've never seen anything like that since. I just knew that this was something that was meant for me, and that was a message. You know, my spiritual path was, you know, even when I was in Japan, there was a time where we had gotten there, I don't know, maybe I was there like a month by that point, and there was a pathway to walk from the base to what they call, it was like an outdoor plaza, and it was the fall, so it was October by that point, and I'm walking, and all of a sudden I'm smelling flowers. There's no flowers anywhere, like nothing. And so so I was just like, what is going on? And I could feel there was some kind of past life connection there with that happening. And I just remember it's just, okay, I'm just going to keep walking. And I went to, it's called the Ginza, so it's an outdoor plaza. And so I did what I needed to do. I'm coming back the same way, and there's no smell at all. So it was just like at that particular moment, it was there and gone. But these are the things that would happen. Like I would go into some of these older castles. One particular castle that we were in, that I went, you know, was just like a touristy thing to do, and I needed to get out of there because I could feel like I can feel the energy of people long past. It's happened to me here at one of the colleges. I went with my youngest brother to tour a college, and I could feel the energy in there, how haunted it was. Like I pick up on that. I feel those. So I just know that cloud formation of the baby cherub was like the beginning of this path. And it was amazing because I'd be like, okay, I've gone 7,000 miles and I've come back 7,000 miles. Why? I didn't know at the time, but it started to present itself eventually, the reason. So
that's incredible.
You know, I just feel like, you know, I believe in the soul plan before you come on Earth's plane, that there's a contract that you make, and you choose your parents, and you choose your siblings, and you choose your name, you choose all those things. And I feel like, you know, you've got free will. There's always like a fork in the road, and that might, you know, change your timeline. But, you know, we're here to learn lessons. Mm-hmm. We're here to learn and like go through whatever karma we have to go through in order to clear, you know, as much as we possibly can. So, I'm here. My path, my journey has been to help others. It always has been. And it doesn't matter how I got here. I got here. I wanted to be a social worker when I was in high school. I wanted to use music as therapy, and my passion was music. Nobody had ever heard of music therapy back then. I mean, we know about it now, but I was already ahead of the game. But that wasn't the path. But I always knew that I was meant to help people. Human resources was my background. Then I got into healthcare, and I've been in healthcare, and it's been about helping people. But this is just like, this is it. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. So I'm very grateful for this journey, for this path. I'm very, very grateful, and I feel very blessed, and I have amazing support in my life. So it's been awesome.
That's amazing, and I do agree with you. We are every soul come here, or what we call your soul design, this perfect divine soul print that you pre-design is like a map, a soul design that people can follow and then just ask to be revealed as you go. Remove the filters, especially the lower mind. The lower mind knows nothing. Get it
Right.
out of the way. So, absolutely right on. Thank you so much, Deborah, for this. So, earlier in this incredible interview together, one of our listener right now, one of the member in the audience says that she's working on doing Reiki on herself for healing and everything. Well, asking for help, what else can be done? So the question I have for you is that when it comes to Reiki energy or somebody doing Reiki on themselves, um, what else can they do? Do you have any advice in terms of, to amplify the energy moving through, to get additional help so they can, whether it's health issue, emotions, trauma, anything like that?
Well, I mean, for me, when this kind of thing happens, I guess I always talk to I always talk to the angels. I always talk to my team for help. Because that can help to amplify things as well. Um, I guess, like, I can only go by what I do for myself, and just keep working on yourself, and ask for the divine help. And if you, of course, it's always helpful to maybe get the extra healing from somebody else as well. Another Reiki person or another energy healer, or whatever they do for healing, because there's different forms of energy healing. I just happen to be a Reiki Master, so I hope that helps to answer the question.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much. Oh, beautiful. Uh, Divine Fractal is asking, when you are working on a person, what does the energy look like to you?
Again, it just depends, and I usually keep my eyes closed. Sometimes I'll get colors, and it's more, for me, it's a feeling. So sometimes, again, I'll either get, maybe I'll get some warmth, or I'll get some heat, or it'll be cold. It depends on what's going on in their body. If they've had, like, I've worked on people before who've had surgery. Sometimes I can feel like this coldness coming from them, because there could be some maybe blocked energy as well. So, to just try and, like, bring it in, and, like, use like again, I'm the vessel. So, before I do anything, I'm calling in the angels, I'm calling in my guides, but I'm also calling in their people too. It's not just my people. I'm calling their people in too, because we want to be able to make that connection to their highest and best. So for the help that they need. So again, like, I don't always see anything, because I work with my eyes closed, because that helps me to really, like, be in the focus, so that I don't wind up, I'm trying, like, I'm in the zone when it's going on. So it's probably the best way I can say.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I can see that for you. So that's beautiful. Thank you so much, Deborah.
You're
Uh,
welcome.
you're welcome. Of course. So Simon from Glastonbury in England is asking if you can tell us which church you belong to, thinking that you mentioned earlier mantra and Buddhism practice combined together. What a fantastic life affirming.
So the spiritual church that I've belonged to is Divine Grace. Cassandra Butler, that's her church. She is the reverend for that. So that's the church that I've belonged to. We don't have like a church for the Buddhists at all. It's a school, not so much a church. So, but that's like I said, and I plug for Cassandra, and she does a Facebook Live like every Wednesday too, and she talks about the astrology. So she's pretty awesome.
And that's the Cosmic Institute something.
Oh, for her,
Yeah,
she does the cosmic. I think it was the Cosmic Connections. I think that's what it is. But she does that on the Facebook Live, and she's got a page and stuff like that too. I don't know it offhand because I've been with her for a long time.
Yeah. Sandra's awesome.
She is.
Well, Deborah, if people wants to connect with you, what will be the best way?
They can get me at my email, which is Rev Deb Jocko, so REVDEB, and then my last name JOCKO @gmail.com.
Perfect.
I have a Facebook page too. That is also Rev Deborah Jocko. And I think if they even on Facebook, if they just type in Deb Jocko, I think they might be able to get it that way as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you
I
so much.
don't have a website yet. That'll come.
Okay,
that will come.
I put all your information in the chat room so people can just copy paste directly from this. I got your email, Facebook page, so people can connect with you, especially, like getting a reading in Western astrology, the chart, getting to know.
Yeah, or if they want to
understanding-
have like a reading and a mediumship, like I said, I do that. I have tarot. And then I also do healings distant wise as well, because especially for people that are far away, I can't really do much, but in the way things are right now in New York State, everything is still by, video right now. So
Perfect.
we haven't opened up quite yet.
It's coming. It's coming. I want to make sure that people are a way to directly reach you, and I took care of that for you. It's already in the chat room, so we're super good to go.
Thank you.
We have about of course, naturally. We have about 7-8 minutes to the end of this incredible episode together. So what usually we do on Chef, this is our format. We usually wrap up our time together with a clearing. We guide people to a clearing, allowing that to breathe. So usually I'm the one who conduct it with my Octron team. But since you're also such a beautiful Reiki Master, energy worker, and very powerful in your own way, I says, hey, what do you say that if it's okay with you, you will conduct us to a little clearing for everybody and to wrap up the show? How about that?
Huh? Okay, I can do that. What I'll do is I'll put my hands up. Okay, so if we can just all put our hands up. Okay. And what I'll do is typically what I do in terms of even when I'm clearing out for our disconnection from spirit. We want to be able to clear all the energies from the room. I'm going to do a little bit of chanting, okay, as part of the Reiki. So, Dokomyo Chokure Seiheki, 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 Dokomyo Chokure Seiheki. Let's clear any negative energy that may have come in, only allow for positive, beautiful white light to remain. I ask that we disconnect from the spirit world, those that may have come in. and make it so that our whole area is beautiful and clean. Diamond light, beautiful golden white light energy. And with that, I leave with God's blessing. And we are all disconnected. Oh. I'll leave that with God's blessing. Amen.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That was very refreshing, very, uplifting, releasing excess of negativity energies and allowing the truth of our light just to come through. So thank you. I really wanted to give everyone this opportunity and being able to share collectively. And because as a collective, we can generate so much energy. We have great powers within us, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Keep
So
raising our vibration, people. That's what we have to do, is keep going towards that light. Help the earth, Gaia. We need to be able to do that and just bring love and compassion to everybody that needs it. That's the most important thing right now, is just to help those that are in need.
beautiful. I like that. Yes. And that includes you. I always tell people, remember that to bring yourself back into the equation, you too, sometime when we being of service,
Yes.
we extract ourselves or we exclude ourselves from it. So
That's very true. So we're always helping everybody else. We don't always put ourselves in there, but we need to, in order to help everybody too.
absolutely. So just want to make an announcement that we are going to be taking a little break for the Memorial Weekend here in the United States. So for May, this is the last show for the month of May. We will be back on Sunday, June 6th. And Jeff, correct me if that is incorrect, but this time around, we do have James Gillian coming back to the show, or coming to the show, correct?
Yes, we do.
Yay! Perfect, perfect. So make sure you stay tuned. Remember that for May, this is the last episode. We're taking a break here. We have an upcoming holiday weekend in the United States over Memorial Weekend, which is the weekend of May 30th. We'll take a little short break, just a little tiny break. What I'm going to be busy anyway, working at conferences at the time, but we're going to be back Sunday, June 6th. James Gillian from the East City Ranch. I know we held a space. We did a lot of clearing together for him and the ranch, and I was told from good source that did great wonders, a lot of great benefits. So so everyone who tuned in that day and partake in terms of the healing for the ranch, we received really major 2 thumbs up. So just so you know. But of course, we want to thank you, Deborah, for being so generous of yourself, for being also dedicated to service to others, healing, bringing also the energy from this amazing lineage, the Buddhism, Master Reiki, of course, Western astrology, and everything that you bring. So it's been incredible. I've been getting a lot of really powerful comments. Grateful. Thank you, everyone. Felt the power. What an enjoyable show. Great information. Love her energy. To some people, it felt like you were looking familiar. So you're already connecting to the community in many ways. So,
Well, thank you again so much for this. I'm very honored and grateful for this opportunity. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
oh yeah, definitely. And I trust that we will see you again. Mhm.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
See? And I know that I get the thumbs up from everybody. So,
Awesome.
yes, I want to thank everyone who's also tuning in live, those who will be listening and also discovering Deborah in the recording. It will be on our YouTube channel, Vivian Chauvet Galactic Healer. Make sure you subscribe, you like us, so you'll get all the alerts. You get connected with amazing guests coming up. And we're also reaching very closely our first anniversary on the show. And we'll do a little special for that one too. But yes, so today, Deborah, a joy. And on behalf of everyone, stay in your light. Remember that you are loved above and beyond, and you are very powerful. Deborah, Jeff, my friend, thank you so much. Very
Thank
grateful.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
We'll see you on June 6th.